In the fall of last year, my wife and I did the Holland-America Line legendary cruise of the Mediterranean. This video is about our visit to the Pyramids of Giza, a destination long on our bucket list. Hello, my name is Paul and I'm retired. As you'll see, not everything went the way I expected it to, but we did get to walk the plateau and experience this wondrous and special place. It starts with a 3-hour bus ride from Alexandria and gives us just 2 hours at the pyramids before heading into Old Cairo for lunch on the River Nile. So please join myself and Mrs. Semi-Retired on our day in Egypt. We start out heading west away from Cairo, but then make a left onto Route 75, now heading south. That will take us through the desert directly to the Pyramids of Giza at the neck of the Nile Delta. Flocks of migrating birds are heading north, flying in great chevrons, and for a long moment they fill the sky. The early sun, rising in the east to a cloudless morning, makes for a pretty picture. It's desert, so not a lot to see, except for having to stop for a shepherd crossing the motorway with his flock of sheep. Not everyone wants to stop, but in the end they do, and the shepherd and his sheep cross safely without any casualties. And after that short but entertaining stop, we're away again. Lots and lots of earthworks. Concrete block buildings that have been built. They're new, a lot of them are brand new, look like they've just been abandoned. During the entire journey I saw several buildings that were started but not completed. They had rebar sticking up from upper floor pillars as if they were intended to be multi-storey. But why so many buildings in this arbitrary unfinished state? I later learned that in 1954 a property tax was introduced on completed buildings, while buildings that were still under construction were exempted. So naturally, you build to a level of completion that enables the building to be used for purpose, whether it's a home or business. But you don't finish it. It's tax-free. It's also ugly, but ingenious. We're getting towards Cairo now, so a lot more of the buildings are inhabited. There's one over there, can you see it in the distance? A complete structure, but empty. Abandoned and unfinished.
Grand Egyptian Museum is the largest museum in the world for one civilization, and the largest around the world for the ancient Egyptian civilization alone. It's around 480,000.
This is New Giza. As you can see, this area is under development, with many new businesses and infrastructure ventures.
This museum and the pyramids, selected people will stop by here and use up for a transit.
Now we're passing under the Skywalk, monorail tracks that connect various new and modern developments, including the new administrative capital with central Cairo. That means we're getting close. And at last, our first sight of the pyramids, well, at least 2 of them. Khufu's pyramid, the largest, on the left. Khafre's is on the right.
Well, it was the highest man-made building on Earth for centuries. 1. 2, so we're talking around 2400 BC when it was built. So each side is exactly pointing to one of the 4 cardinals of the world.
Security is very high at the visitor centre and entrance to the plateau. It's very modern and thankfully pleasantly cool inside. And for security reasons, filming is not allowed here until we exit onto the sands.
So when you go over there, you'll find huge blocks of granite over there.
My first impression is just how high the Giza plateau is. After watching countless YouTube videos and TV programs about the pyramids, I had no idea that the plateau rose so abruptly out of the Nile Valley plain. No wonder the pharaohs built their monuments here, where they could be seen for miles around.
And your son will fit.
The closest pyramid to us is the Pyramid of Menkaure, and even though it's the closest and looks to be pretty big, it's actually the smallest of the three pyramids and the youngest. Okay, where's the causeway? Is that on the other side? At this point, a little confusion is setting in because it's becoming apparent that Khafre's pyramid, probably the most popular with tourists and certainly the one I want to get close to, is not the intended destination. Instead, we're being directed to Menkaure's pyramid. So let's see how this plays out. The local souvenir sellers that have operated here for generations are everywhere. They're selling everything from traditional multi-purpose shamar headscarf to leather purses, resin reproductions of the iconic Gaia Anderson cat statue, and many other replicas of the pharaohs, statues, gods, obelisks and anything Egyptian. You name it, they sell it. Though I have to say, the locals were very polite and unobtrusive. I didn't feel harassed or pressured to buy anything at any time during our visit. Okay, so here we can see some of the Tura limestone up close. The whole pyramid was clad in this stuff. What you normally see, the steps and all that, that's just the core. And although they've lasted, what, 5,000 years, so it must be built well. The actual fine finishing went into these Tura limestone blocks, and here they are, some of the ones that have actually fallen off. Now there's one Japanese guy who propositioned putting the capping stones back on, and he started to collect them. There they are, that line there. And then the Egyptian government said, yeah, no, I don't think so, we're not going to do that. So here they are, rubble basically. Have you looked at the people going in?
No.
How they're going down and they're having to lean and crouch over. It would not be a good place to go for us.
I don't need to go in.
No, neither do I. I mean, it'd be interesting. So anyway.
Why is that?
Pardon?
Why is some of it kind of yellow?
Well, it was quarried locally, and that's just the core of it. It's the quality stuff is this Tura limestone at the bottom. So it's just sandstone, quarried locally, just sort of over there and over there. The two quarries are either side of the main causeway, and this is not the main causeway. So I'm hoping they take us round the other side. That looks like the main causeway. Oh, he's just stood right in the way.
What do you mean the main causeway?
You see people over there.
Nice photo, touch your
I'm guessing that the Sphinx is over there. But I'm guessing, because the one thing I can't do is actually tell you exactly where we are. In that. Yeah, they'll be posting that. Okay.
things over there in Is that a done that?
Looks like it.
Can you see?
There's the limestone blocks that the Japanese guy put to one side. Built during the 4th dynasty, about 2525 BC, Menkaure's pyramid is only fractionally off being in a straight line with the other two pyramids. Is that by accident or design, I wonder? Were they supposed to align with each other? Or did Menkaure think, nah, that's too predictable, I'm not going to do that? I guess we'll never know. I can reach higher than you, so if you keep going up, I'll keep going up higher.
Well, look at it.
Yeah, I know. I am doing. There you go.
Thank you.
We were there. After the obligatory selfie with Mrs. Semi-Retired, complete with silly voices, we need to start thinking about heading back to the bus, if we can find it. Apparently, the driver felt it necessary to relocate it. Now, if there's any justice in this world, we'll be heading over to that little beauty, Khafre's pyramid, the Sphinx and the causeway. As the bus is taking us to the Valley Temple, we get a good look at the Great Pyramid of Giza, built by Pharaoh Khufu in the 4th dynasty around 2400 BC. We are taking the road between Khafre's pyramid and the Great Pyramid, so this is the best view we're going to get of the largest pyramid ever built. It was the tallest man-made structure in the world until the spire was added to Salisbury Cathedral in 1330, a record that stood for 3,700 years. That's an extraordinary achievement for such an ancient civilization. I must say that I'm envious of the people here at the Great Pyramid today, as they explore the ruins, totally unconstrained by tour group etiquette. Unlike us, they're free to wander wherever their curiosity takes them. We park at the Valley Temple, close to the Sphinx. I've wanted to visit this place for years, to see the Sphinx in the flesh, so to speak, and to walk along the causeway to Khafre's pyramid. I must admit that I'm getting a little excited.
This is the calling for prayer. Yeah, in case everyone is wondering.
The first stop on this leg is the Valley Temple, and we are ushered into a small alcove that is the entrance to the room where Khafre's mortal remains were embalmed as the first step in the funerary rites.
Okay. So, welcome to the Valley Temple of King Khafre, the builder of the second pyramid. I'll explain. So, the River Nile used to come not this close, but closer. So, the Valley of the Nile.
So here are the edited highlights of our tour guide's narrative. She's telling us how Khafre would have been brought down the Nile, probably from Memphis, on a ceremonial solar barge to be eviscerated, desiccated, bejewelled and wrapped in linen so tight his own mummy wouldn't recognise him. Sorry, I promise not to make any more jokes.
You guys okay with the mummification and all? You don't mind? You wanna know? Okay, first you do not need the brain. You make all the memories, everything are in the heart. So you leave the heart and you inject the brain with some chemical medicine thing. You get a hook inside the nose and you pull it all out through the nose and you throw it away. Okay? And then you make a coffin the left side of the body and take...
It's a small room with nothing to see but sandstone walls. These guys found out to their embarrassment all too quickly.
Does anyone know what are the 4 organs that rot fastest? So after 70 days, the salt will drain all the liquids from the body, and then you take them out with the oils and chemicals and herbs for the smell. You wrap him in linen, and you put some amulets and precious stones and papyri with some spells to help him pass. This is why many of the mummies will rot, so that people can take the gold and amulets inside. Then you put him in linen, after the linen, you put him in coffin and sarcophagi and in the pyramid.
Then for us, it's out of here and onwards, following on behind the number 13 flag.
This is the same thing. Yeah, there was no room over there. I have to explain it for you.
This is horrible. We're now behind another tour group heading into the highly restrictive and confined corridors of the temple proper. Shuffling along, hardly moving, it seems like an eternity before we finally emerge from the temple into the sunlight, and then we hang a right. This isn't the way to the causeway. The causeway that leads to Khafre's pyramid is straight ahead between those walls that were once much taller and roofed over. This excursion is going sideways. I was sorely tempted to ditch the group here, grab Mrs. semi-retired and take off on our own. I should do it, but I don't. Instead, I follow the leader into the milling throng to get a second-rate balcony view of the Sphinx. This is not what I was expecting or hoping for when I came all this way to see the pyramids. Carved out of a solid block of bedrock sandstone, the Sphinx has stood the test of time beautifully. I am awed and impressed by its grandeur. Nobody knows for sure exactly when it was created, so that's a subject of much speculation. Some even speculate that the Sphinx may predate the pyramids by hundreds of years, and that the face and headdress may have been changed in antiquity to align with the 4th dynasty's aesthetic. Seeing the Sphinx up close and personal did tick another item off my bucket list, and for that I am grateful. But it grinds my gears that we came all this way to be so close to my expectations, and yet so far. The causeway to the pyramid is a straight line from here, and less than half a kilometre. I could have been there and back before anyone realised I was gone. I missed my opportunity, didn't I? All in all, I reckon it's just as well that I didn't do it. The tour guide is calling us back to assemble at the bus for roll call, and it would have been totally cringe if I'd not been there. So we say goodbye to Khufu, Khafre and Menkaure and the Sphinx and head off for lunch, which we're going to do in style with a river cruise on the Nile. We're slowly making our way from the pyramids to the River Nile at Giza, where we have an arrangement for lunch while taking a river cruise. This part of Giza and Old Cairo is directly east of the pyramids and looks to be a little better off economically than further north, no doubt due to the increased tourist traffic in these parts. It's definitely cleaner and there are more modern buildings. The main street even has a row of palm trees that add a little colour. So it wasn't too hard on the eyes to sit and watch some street level activity for a while when the bus pulled into the curb and stopped. And we're by the end of this median, and the tour guide told us that traffic lanes don't mean a thing over here, and that rules don't really mean a thing over here, but they make it work, and she's dead right. I mean, what would cause a major snarl up in just keeps the traffic flowing here. We've even got a tuk-tuk coming down the road the wrong way. It's coming down the wrong way. Look at that, it's coming down. He's going against the traffic. He's gone. Good grief.
Oh my gosh.
They rarely actually stop.
And pedestrians walking right in the middle of the road.
Everybody gives way to everybody. Even though they might honk the horn, they still yield. And pedestrians are just downright dangerous. Oh, tuk-tuk nearly hit him. Oh my God, that tuk-tuk nearly ran into the BMW. Oh my God. We've got a joker, we've got 4 guys here walking with their, oh, I don't know, just walking down the middle of the bloody road. Oh, yep, motorbike crisscrossing. It's actually quite entertaining. All those little minibuses just seem to be crammed full of people. Oh my God. There, it's just really entertaining. Soon after getting underway again, and because it wasn't very far, we arrived at the Nile Pharaoh's cruising restaurants. My internal mic. It's very touristy, and that would normally put me off coming here. But this is so well done and so well presented, I can forgive them. I'm not sure if this is a boat or just a restaurant at the side of the river. The staff are friendly, with smiles all round, and I've just noticed that there are plenty of fire extinguishers all over the place. That makes me happy. There are 2 boat restaurants, built in the style of the Pharaoh's solar barges. Well, sort of. They are moored on each side of a pier and look pretty cool, decorated in a style that evokes ancient Egyptian culture and prestige. Many ram-headed Sphinx or Kriya Sphinx line our path along the pier together with other Egyptian iconography. Then there's this archway covered in hieroglyphics, and I don't have a clue what it's all about. But I do see multiple cartouches, so it must be important. Perhaps it's the menu. I know. I promise not to make any more jokes. Sorry, not sorry. And finally, the falcon-headed god Horus welcomes us aboard. It seems to be pretty crowded in the restaurant, and no one likes to be filmed eating, so I'm going to end this segment here. Hello again. If you made it this far, thank you. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe, or hit the bell for notifications of new videos. As excursions go, this one was quite frustrating at times, because I know that it could have been so much better. Our first stop at Menkaure's pyramid was all that it could have been, We chose not to go into the pyramid because neither of us aren't that good anymore at crouching over while descending steep corridors, and I'm not so sure that the air in there would be very healthy for my ageing lungs. Khafre's pyramid, however, is another kettle of fish. We spent way too much time in the Valley Temple, in that little alcove entrance to the embalming room. I had to cut 10 minutes out of the video while we waited for some group members to even get there, and then there was her spiel, which was rather long. While that was going on, we were losing ground to other tour groups as they passed behind us, so when we finally made our move to the other side of the temple, we were at the tail end of a gaggle of people jammed into the corridor. And then the coup de grace, so to speak, was that we never got to see the Sphinx or Khafre's pyramid from the causeway. Instead, we were herded onto a cramped and packed balcony with at least 3 other tour groups. It's not good enough. To go all that way just to spend time standing around and then being rushed for time when you actually get to a place where you might get some decent photographs is not acceptable. In the time we spent on the Giza plateau, we could have experienced Menkaure, stopped for a photo op at the Great Pyramid, and walked up to Khafre's. By the way, the best place to view the Sphinx is from the causeway, just a few meters from the balcony where there were relatively few people, certainly no tour groups. Was it a complete waste of time and money? No, of course not, but it could have been so much better. Well, thank you for watching. My next video will be about the island of Santorini, so see you there.